What's up, everybody, and welcome to another Kinstretch class brought to you by Stretch Effect. My name is Coach Luke, and I'll be taking you through today's 25-minute shoulder flexion focused Kinstretch class. Today's class is really going to be focused on the aspect of flexion, but not only just flexion, think straight up bicep to ear, but also our different zones of flexion. So we'll be training in some different areas, doing some pills and rails, doing some lift-offs, and then even doing some eccentrics, which we have not done for the shoulders yet. So we're going to start off with just a sideline shoulder car. So we're just going to take one block down over the head. If you have a second block, you can just take that block and you can hug it with the bottom arm. This is a good way just to remind ourselves to keep tension. If you only have one block, you can go there, and then you can just go from here. It's up to you. What we're just going to do is our sideline variation of the shoulder car. So I'm going to take this arm across, keep it nice and tight. That just reminds me to keep my ribs down because I just keep a nice straight line from here. Take this arm up, over the top, think bicep to ear. Rotate the shoulder around as much as you can. Continue trying to rotate internally as much as you can throughout the whole rep here. So I hit my side, back of my hand is touching, and now I go thumb as far back in extension as I can. Once I can't get any more from there, I will then come over the top and down. We're going to get 3 reps here. Because of the sideline position, your orientation to gravity, should be the most range that you can get out of your shoulder cars. So really just go super slow. Really envision the head of your humerus, your upper arm rotating in that shoulder capsule as you work all the way around. Rotate over the top. Pull that shoulder down, right? I don't want to be struggling with my ear. I just want to keep that shoulder right in that shoulder capsule. We got one more time. So just work to keep that separation between shoulder and ear. Rotate, max out that rotation. Keep a nice tight squeeze on the block. Max out the rotation of your shoulder. And one more half rep as I go into extension. Rotate around, over the top, squeeze it, and come down. Now let's go to switch sides. Switch. This block can go here, my underarm, where my bottom arm takes it, give a good tight squeeze, press those legs together, keep that core engaged. I will go bicep to ear, get as high up there as you can. From there, max out this internal rotation, so not just the hand, but the whole arm. The bicep rotates as I reach back, come around, backside of my hand touches my side, thumb goes straight back into extension, rotation, max out the rotation, make sure we're not shrugging up into the ear, come back down. If you want to go fist, you can do that as well. I'm just doing that so I can get some clearance back here at the wall behind me. We got 2 more here. Bicep to ear. Rotate, 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 max out the rotation of the bicep the whole way as I come around. To my side, thumb goes straight back. Over the top, squeeze that block from the body. Keep that shoulder down, make sure we're not hiking up into the ear. We got one more time. Get a good full body tension here, squeeze those legs together as high as I can while I come over the top. I'm trying to maximize internal rotation the whole way. As I come back more, I'll be able to get a little bit more internal rotation. Keep fighting for more as you come around to your side. Reverse. One more time. Over the top. Down and through. Okay, let's just go right into some capsule cars. So we'll do some internal, external rotation capsule cars, just really just get kind of the final little bit of our shoulders warmed up. So the internal, external rotation capsule cars is just like we did with our shoulder cars, right? Getting here, getting the rotation of the head of your humerus in the shoulder capsule, right? That's really what we're going for here, just to kind of finalize the warm-up, just to get the shoulders nice and pumped up before we go into some pills and rails. So we're just going to go into a 90-degree bend of the elbows. Work to keep those ribs down, stay nice and tight. Arms will be right here, so straight out from my shoulders with those elbows. I'm going to rotate down, internal rotation as far as I can before I want to shrug those shoulders up, right? That would be shoulder blades come along to the right. I just want to keep it just in the shoulder capsule. I will then rotate back, fight to drive those hands back to the wall behind you. So the back side of those shoulders light up. And right back down. We got 5 reps each way. That's 2. 2. As always with our shoulder capsule cars, we don't want to just do this, right? That's what you see a lot of times. People in the gym, right? We want to make sure that we're fighting to squeeze out more range of motion, especially where it's the most challenging, and that's going to be at your end range. So I hit my end range, extra rotation, continue trying to squeeze back. That's really where you're going to be able to get the most magic out of these movements here. Internal, squeeze down before those shoulders want to hike up. External, keep those ribs down, make sure that full body stays tight. Try to drive those hands back to the back side of those shoulders. Really helps to envision the actual bone rotating in the shoulder, because then you know when you hit your end. Now we're pushing into that tissue to try to squeeze out a little bit more, lay down a little bit more, what we call sarcomeres in that tissue, so we can get more contraction capacity in deeper ranges of motion, which will carry over into everything that we want to do. So from there, let's go right into our prone shoulder flexion pills and rails. So we've done this before, but just a quick recap. We're just going to stay on your stomach. Make sure we keep those ribs down, especially when we do that rails contraction. We try to go up this way. We want to make sure that we're not extending through that spine. We want to make sure everything stays locked in nice and tight. So when I get that lift off, I'm getting it from the back side of that shoulder, getting all these muscles to work as hard as they need to get the arm off the block. So we're going to do 1 set here, so 10-second ramp driving down. As I drive down, I want to think lat drive down. So not only crushing here, but also crushing down. So I want to get lats nice and tight. And then as I do rails, I'm going to pull away to really think backside of that shoulder lighten up. But I don't want to shrug up into my ear, right? I want to keep that shoulder down in the capsule, get there. So that's going to really come from your shoulder blade. Just a nice subtle back and down tension from that shoulder blade. So we're going to do 1 set here, and then we're going to go 1 set about 45 degrees out to the side. So from there, let's just get set up. We'll go right arm straight up, a little bit out to the side, left arm straight up, a little bit out to the side. So we get here. The block will be just where my hand and wrist would go. I want to tuck my tailbone, make sure my lower back stays nice and tight, and I'm not arching. I'm going to throw my other forearm down on the floor and just rest my forehead down here. So tuck, get block set up. Again, if this position, if you can go from here, and then you know you can get that hand from there, you can elevate that block to a little bit higher position. If you do a test rep and you go from here, you can't get your hand off the floor, that's okay. That just means you're going to do your pills and rails from here, because that means this is your end range. So you can go from here, 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 and then if you're very mobile, which some people are, you go from the completely elevated block position. From there, so just find your setup, and then again, you can do 1 set here, and your second set slightly out here, whatever you need to do to get the most out of it. I'm going to find my setup position, block in the tailbone, so I'm tucking my tailbone under, trying to lift my belly button off the floor, squeeze my glutes together, squeeze my legs together, get set up, and then because we don't quite have a passive stretch here, we're just going to go right into some pills and rails work. So get set up, full body tension, and then start driving the hand down on the block, but also trying to pull it towards you. Let's get that lat going here. So we're at 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50%, 60, keep crushing down and in, 70, 80, 90, and max effort 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rail. Try to pull that hand away from the block. Make sure you don't shrug up into your ear, so then pull the shoulder blade slightly back and down. That's just going to set it in place, so we know we're getting everything out of that shoulder that we possibly can without anything cheated going off to the right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Set that down. Shouldn't have got off the block. If you did, that's okay. That just means you got to elevate the block on the next one. So we're going to go out, about 45 degrees out to the side. So just think straight out from that line of that shoulder there. Thanks for breathing. Get set up. Get everything ready to go. elbow stays locked, we're driving fist and wrist into that block here. So it's like you meet a half Y with your arm. That's about the angle that you want to be. But again, you have the zone of flexion here, here, here. You have all these zones you can play around with. So make sure that, if you do this in future classes, you can change the angle up really about anywhere between 10 and 15 degrees all the way and then even into abduction, right? But up here is all fair game, okay? So here, tucked, there you go, and then start driving down. You're trying to hold that block down and toward you, get that lat going here. We're at 20, 30, 40, 50, 60%, 70%, 80, 90, and 100% for 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, keep that body still, 2, ribs stay down, 1, and rails. Try to pull away from that block. Try to lift that hand, do that shoulder working to get that fist off the block here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Woo. Breathe. Switch sides. Got a lot of shoulder flexion work here today. So here we go. Left arm straight up, move it out to the side. Some lift offs. There's some hovers in there potentially as well. So from here, we're just gonna get set up. Lay on your stomach. Again, left, right arm may be different, right? So do 1 rep here. Do a little test. Then I get my hand up. I think going along the right, so I'll go from here. Then I get my hand up. Yes, so I will go from there. If you do this one and you're way off, then you can go there, or you can stay in this position here. So it's all about finding a position that's best for you, what you need the most, because that's going to be what you're going to get the most out of, right? So just get set up, body's tight, tuck the tailbone, lift the rib cage, lift the elbow off the floor, light squeeze together, and start driving down. Trying to pull the block down and toward you, get that lat going here. We're at 20, 30%, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100% effort. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, load those lats. 4, 3, 2, 1, and rails. Try to pull away. Make sure that shoulder blade stays slightly backing down so we're not hiking up with that shoulder blade. Really work that top side, back side of that shoulder. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, back down. And then we'll just go off to the side. We'll collect our breathing for about 30 seconds. And then we'll go round 2. So as we get that lift off right here, right? So make sure we're not arching the back. If anything, as you try to do that rails contraction, get even more disciplined with that rib cage, with that tailbone type position, because that's really going to carry over when you do any upper body lifts, right? We want to make sure that we can get here without that, right? So I want to keep there and here. So when I'm doing, say, barbell overhead lifts, snatches, really any of those movements, I know that I can get true shoulder function without the aid of lumbar extension, right? So stay in that position for about 30 seconds. Let's go back to the Y position now. So we're here, tuck the tailbone, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the legs together, and start driving fist down and towards you. Get the lat going. We're at 10, 20%, 30%, 40, 50, 60, 70, keep crushing. 80, 90, and max effort drive down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rails. Top side of that shoulder working here. Now we're trying to pull the fist away from the block. Keep those ribs down. Keep driving that tailbone tuck position. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Back down. Shake it out if you need to. We'll go back to the right side. We're going to go right into some passive range lift offs for shoulder flexion. So if you did your tails and rows from here, you'll do your lift offs from this position. We want to come out of it just a little bit. If you went from here, for your tails and rails. You can just take the block away, and then we'll do our lift-offs from the floor. And if you do tails and rails from here, you'll do lift-offs from there. So it's all about just coming out of our end range just a little bit so that we know we have some room to contract into, right? So we want to make sure that we can get some clearance off the block. So if you're doing your tails and rails and you weren't able to get your hand off, that shows you were at your end range, which is what you want. But for the lift-offs, you want to be just short of that. So my block would be sideways here, okay? We're going to go 10 lift-offs from here, and we're going to 10 lift-offs from the Y position, and then do the switch arms. Okay, get set up. Find your same tension, same body position that we had. So forehead on the forearm, tailbone's tucked under, lift you down. This is going to be especially important because this is now essentially just our rails contraction. So make sure you're not arching that back. That would essentially just be a compensation. You know, laying on our stomach, and it's very easy to. You really think tuck the tailbone and really stay tight to that hip, move through the hips. Rib cage down. If you need to reset every single rep, that's totally okay. Get set, get a good subtle shoulder blade tension back and down. That just keeps us out of the sharp position, right? So a little active depression and retraction just a little bit will keep us out of the kind of elevation protraction position of the shoulder blade, okay? Get set, breathe, breath in, full body tension, and lift, back down. 1, lift, down. 2, we got 10 reps, lift, down. 3, lift, down. 4, lift, down. 5, lift, down. 6, lift, down. 7, lift, down. 8, lift, down. 9, last one, lift, down, and 10. Sure that's Y position, or half Y, we should call it. Let's do one on. Same thing. So if I was starting here from tails and rails, I will be here for my lift-offs. Same thing. If you want to go here with the fist, you can also go palm down. That's just going to be a slightly different feeling. You can do that as well. It's up to you. From there, we'll just go here, full body tension, breath in, contract, squeeze glutes, and lift, down. 1, lift, down. 2, lift, down. 3. This one is slightly easier, so if you find you're able to get way off of it, you can certainly go here as well. So from there, I'm here, traction, tension, and lift. 3, lift, down. 4, lift, down. 5, lift, down. 6, lift, down. 7, lift, down. 8, 2 more, lift, down. 9, lift, down, and 10. Good job, so for sides. We got 10 from flexion, 10 from the flexion abduction position. Whew. Set up here. Back to the left side here. Find the position you gotta be in. We'll go bicep straight next to here. Get locked in. Tuck the tailbone, squeeze the glutes. Lift the belly button off the floor. Subtle. Backing down, tension with that shoulder blade. Just keep that shoulder out of my ear. From there, I will lift, down. 1, lift, down. 2, lift, down. 3, lift, down. 4, lift, down. 5 more, lift, down. 6, down. 7, lift, down. 8, lift, down. 9, last one, lift, down, and 10. I'll go to my half Y. Again, if this was too easy, go from here. We got 10 more here. Get that body set up. Walk in. Take a breath. Tuck the tailbone and lift. 1, lift. 2, lift. 3, lift. 4, lift. 5, lift. 6, lift. 7, lift. 8, lift. 9, lift. And back down for 10. Okay, so let's do one set of hovers here. So the hover challenge is what we call is a dynamic lift off. So instead of just lifting straight up, we're now going to lift, clear the object, come down, lift, clear the object, come right back down. So it's kind of combining not only the lift off, but it's actually giving us a little bit of dynamic action. So now we're moving within the zone of shoulder flexion. So just like we started today's class, we talked about this is flexion, this is flexion, this is flexion. So what you could do, if you want to add on some, you can definitely add other obstacles. So now we go up and over, up and over. You can add in really any zone of flexion and then all the way back over. So we're just going to go one obstacle. So what you can do is you can take the block, you're going to throw it right outside where my hand would be. So I'd be right here. I'm going to go up, over, set down. Up, over, set down. If this is too high for you, just go sideways this way. That's totally okay. That just gives you a longer, a wider obstacle to go over, which is totally cool. That just means that you're within more range of that flexion versus just coming up and over here. You're now going up and over out here. That's totally okay. If you're going from the floor, that's totally okay too. You don't technically need an obstacle. You just want to think lift as high as you can and then come over as high as you can go and then set down, a few inches out and then lift up, come back to your start position. So we're just going to do 5 each arm and then we'll finish with some eccentrics for shoulder flexion. So I'm going to be in the same position that I was doing my tails and rails and my pass range lift offs. So I'm just going to go block here. I'm going to go right outside where my hand would be. So my hand will be just inside that block. Everything else is the same. Full body tension. Everything blocked in, tucking my tailbone, squeeze my glutes. You can go fist or you go open palms, up to you. That shoulder blade stays back and down so I'm not hiking in my ear. From there, we got 5 reps up and over. So we'll go over, come back will be 1, we got 5 reps, okay? Walk in and slowly lift, clear your obstacle, find it, step back down. So there, lift, clear the obstacle, bicep to ear, down, 1, lift, over, down, that's slow, lift, over, down, it's 2. As you go down, it's super slow here, lift, over, down, lift, over, 3, lift, over, down, lift, over, down is 4. We got 1 more here, stay tight, lock in, make sure we don't arch that back, lift, over, slowly down, and lift, over, back down. It's 5 hovers for right arm flexion. Now we'll go 5 hovers for left arm flexion. So same setup. This is for hand, which would be just inside of that block. Bicep is right next to the ear to start. The higher up you are, so the closer your bicep is to the ear, the harder it's going to be. So if you find that it's too challenging, you can start out a little bit more to the side and then finish a little bit more to the side as well. It's up to you. There's different zones you can play with. That's the beauty of this training. That's the beauty of this program, is that you can definitely tailor it, and we encourage you to tailor it to your body, your needs, abilities, and goals. Okay, we got 5 reps here. So lock in, tuck the tailbone, and lift over the obstacle, set down, lift, over, 1, lift, over, down, lift, over, 2, lift, over, down, lift, over, 3, reset the core tension if you need to, lift, over, down, lift, over, 4, last 1, lift, over, down, lift, over, and 5. Very good. Okay, so the last thing we got here is just some eccentrics for shoulder flexion. So the eccentric action will be essentially contracting the muscle, holding the contraction while we lengthen the muscle. So think about it here. a classic eccentric action would be like a Romanian deadlift where you're standing and then you work to contract, and then we are lengthening through the hamstrings there. That's just one of them. Another common eccentric would be from the 90-90, where we go from here, drive this leg into the floor, and then we increase the amount of flexion and external rotation. So that would be stretching these muscles while they're contracting, driving into the floor. So what we're gonna do is with shoulder flexion, we're gonna set you up. So this one you can do hand on a chair, hand on the edge of your bed, as long as you have like a hard surface, maybe like a book, press your hand into. You can do it on a table, desk, bench in the gym, really anything. We're gonna use yoga blocks. So if all you have is set up just like we have with the yoga mat, yoga blocks work just fine. So what we're gonna do is take our hand on top of them. I'm gonna set up my position here, kind of like a collapsed squat, okay? I'm gonna set my position up so I can be down on my heels, but I wanna come up just a little bit. Set my position up here to where now I'm driving down. So just like how we did the tails, I'm contracting the lats. And then all I'm gonna do, you can go here or here, drive down on that block, keep the lat tension the whole time. And then all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shift my hips back, drop down, and find my end range. I'm right back at the start position. So you can start, if you have a desk, you can start a little bit higher, shift your hips back. You can certainly go here as well, go from this position. Just find the position that works best for you, because what we're focusing on is keeping a nice tight braced core, getting tension in the lats, keeping that tension. Think 5 count down. So I'll go 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, and then come right back up. We've done a lot of shoulder flexion work already today, so what we're going to do is just 5-second reps, eccentric on the right side, 5-second reps, eccentric on the left side, and then we're going to finish with just 2 shoulder cars. Finish off the day. We're going to go from a quadruped position, and then that's it. Okay, so let's just get set up. Hand to the floor. If you want to start from there, you can certainly do that as well. It's up to you, your body, your needs, your goals, and abilities. Set the position up. Find where you got to be. Take a slight tuck of that tailbone. Drive that block into the other block, or into the desk, into the bench, whatever you're using. Get tension through the lats. Nice tight core brace. Ribs are down, and then I'm just going to sit back and down all the way to my end range of shoulder flexion, and then come right back up. Just use that other arm to press you back up. So one, every time, so you can generate a little bit more tension. So we go a little bit slower. We're stretching those lats while we're contracting them. 2. Set up, brace. Some hips back and down. Get more, get more, get more, get more, get more. 3. 2 more. Drive down. Get more. Sit those hips back. Drop the shoulders down. Get more into your end range. Stretch. 4. Last one. Get there. Crush that block down. Get those lats involved. Sit back. Get more stretch while you contract. Find your end. And we'll switch sides. 5 reps here. Set yourself up. Wherever you gotta be, there's a lot of different options for us here based on what you need. Get set, core braced, drive down, and sit back. Under control, nice and slow. Get your end range. Right back up. Under there. If you want to start from the elbow, you got a good range and you get lower. Just start from a slightly lower position. Get set, get braced, and crush down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back up. 2. Crush. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep going. 2 more here. Crush. Lat tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 or 4, excuse me. 1 more here. Crush down. Stay tight. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Okay. That's it for the shoulder work. Now we just gotta finish with 2 nice and slow quadruped shoulder cars. 2 on the right, 2 on the left, and then we'll call it a day. Set. Brace that core, tuck the tailbone slightly under, side of your hand comes to the top, over, max out that rotation, and just like we did the sideline shoulder cars, up, max out that rotation around, one more, flexion, everything we just worked on today, rotate over, back down, extension, keep that shoulder in the capsule, make sure you don't shrug up, step back down, very good, we got 2 more on the left, body stays tight, core stays engaged, side of my hand touches the floor, come up into flexion, bicep to ear, rotate around, touch, extension, over the top, back to flexion, one more time, here, set, full body brace, nothing else moves except that shoulder, extension, rotation, and come down. Very nice, that was a good full 30-minute shoulder flexion class. That was a class, like I said, is if you're doing overhead pressing, really anything in the gym that involves vertical movements of the hands, pull-ups, shoulder presses, anything like that, that's going to be one that you really want to shore up, because the better that we can flex, the less we're going to have to extend through the lumbar spine or compensate really anywhere else through the body. So again, if you're a rock climber, really anything you do overhead, right? So there's a lot that goes into overhead movements. So the better we can improve our internal rotation, external rotation, the better the joint will function, because it rotates better. So that means I have a higher capacity to improve my shoulder flexion. So although the internal and external rotation are our prerequisites, once you get those kind of shored up, moving into shoulder flexion work, is that's going to be a very common area of a lot of shoulder injuries. So again, thank you for joining me in today's shoulder flexion focused Kinstretch class, and hope to see you at the next one.